vitamin C is a good product to be able to use for anti-aging. It helps with support the immune function of the skin. It can also help with decreasing inflammation and antioxidant that can help protect from environmental factors that can be damaging to the skin. It depends on the person, definitely depends on what their skin needs are. Not only that, but also what they are willing to do. So if I have someone that I get this a lot, I have my patients that will come in and say, hey, I really want to get on a skin routine, but right now all I do is wash my face off with water before I go to bed and I wash it with soap in the shower. Like, I'm not going to do a 10-step routine. So for them, I'm like, let's get your skin ready then. So let's do the cleanser, the exfoliating polish, and complexion renewal pads. And then if I can get them to throw in that one more step, I'll push the daily power. And it just depends what their skin needs are. If I have someone who is having a lot of acne breaks out, that's going to look different than someone who has rosacea. So I'm going to be putting different products out there, recommending different products for them. So I do get a lot of teenagers in here with acne. Salicylic acid is a really great product for them to be using. I have a lot of teenagers that I'm doing like salicylic peels on, that they'll come every couple weeks and do that. And then I try to get them on a regimen that has salicylic acid in it. So our Apex line actually is a really nice line for acne. So I'll recommend a foaming cleanser, and then we have knee pads that are called Acne Eraser. Most kids know what Stridex is, so I kind of refer to it. That's very similar to that, and it'll get off that extra dirt and grime that we're kind of leaving behind with our wash. And then we have a spot treatment that can be for extra little blemishes and things like that. As we age, it's nice to add in extra products. Like, I'm not necessarily going to throw multiple steps to a teenager and tell them they need to do, X, Y, and Z. But as we get older, we can take on a little more responsibility for our skin. So adding in the vitamin C as we're aging, adding in the retinol as we're aging, I think those are things that are really important. It can just help with a lot of different skin concerns. If someone is coming in and I'm recommending retinol, I'm always recommending that they start at the lowest dose. Skin Medica has a really nice, they have a 0.25, a 0.5, and a 1. I'd always start somebody out at a 0.25. I would start them out using it 2 to 3 times a week. What I'd let them know that they can be expecting from that is they're going to see some redness, they're going to see some dry skin, they're going to see their skin flaking, and they're going to think, oh my gosh, my skin's not handling this. I promise you it is. That's part of the process. We're promoting that cell turnover. We're wanting to build up the tolerance. So once you're using it 2 to 3 times a week, and you tell me I'm not getting that response that I was having anymore, then it's time to up the game. So then we're going to go maybe 3 to 4 times a week. The goal is to get it to using it every day. And once you're using the retinol 0.25 every day and you're not having that reactive response anymore of that redness, dryness, flaking, it's time to increase your dose. So then we would increase you to the 0.5 and we would kind of start the routine over again. We're looking at helping to reduce fine lines and wrinkles with retinols, helping to some of the hyperpigmentation that we might get from sun damage. It's helping to get that, skin, that cell turnover again, like we talk about, everything that we do, we want to help to stimulate that collagen. So the retinols can really help with that too. I will say it really depends on the skin concern around your eyes that you're looking for. So dark circles, we can work with that. We can work with some bags under the eyes if it is caused from lack of sleep and things like that. I would say a lot of people have a misconception that if they have bags under their eyes, they can make that swelling go down, and that's not always the case. A lot of people have fat pads under their eyes, and no amount of creams is going to help that problem. So I will say I do refer a lot of people with the bags under their eyes, and I will say that because I have had surgery under my eyes. When I got into this industry, the first thing I wanted to do is like, I want filler into my eyes. Like, let's fix this problem. And they're like, you're not a candidate for that. And I'm like, wait, what? So filler is hydrophilic, so it's going to pull fluid in. So if it's a fat pad or if it's swelling, it can potentially make it worse. People with allergies aren't good candidates for that. So the creams that I would recommend the most would be like a growth factor serum. You always want to start with your cleanser, your exfoliating polish, your toner. If you have a moisturizer, that would be next. Then we would use some of the serums. So like the hyaluronic acid, TNS. Retinol is always going to be your last product that you use. You want to use that at night because does make your skin more sensitive to the sun. So using it at nighttime, it will get through any other products that you've put on. So that's why using it last is fine, even after you've loaded things on. It will get through because it's a heavier product. Skin Better, which we don't carry, has a product that is for men specifically, and it's like an all-in-one. I think with most men, if we can get them to cleanse and get them to moisturize and get them to use sunscreen, it's a win. I would say if somebody has been using products for 3 to 6 months and they're really not seeing any real benefits, any improvement. So say we're treating acne. If you've used something for 3 to 6 months and we're not really seeing improvement, then we need to make some changes. I do encourage people to really try to stick it out for at least 12 weeks because your skin's going to go through some purging when you're starting these new products. We want to give them a chance to work and not just assume they're not going to work. Of course, if your skin in the winter, a lot of us get a lot drier with the skin, so we might need to add in something more with hydration. I don't think you can go wrong with hyaluronic acids. You're using the Zeo Skin regimen and you have the Daily Power, and things are really great during the summer, and then in the winter you're like, hey, I don't know what happened. I haven't changed anything. We might want to grab a Skin Medica hyaluronic acid and throw that in, or even like the growth factor serum. That's a really great heavy product that is great to go to bed in. Growth factor is great for all skin types and it has so many different benefits. So maybe just adding in a product might be helpful for somebody. Yes, I think using sunscreen every day is really important, but kind of the way I do things is if I know I'm coming into work and I'm going to be inside all day, I'll put my sunscreen on in the morning and I go about my day. Compared to if it's summertime and I'm outside and I'm gardening or I'm boating or something, we need to be reapplying that sunscreen every couple of hours. It doesn't last forever. I would say let's just start simple, right? If you've never done any of this and I try to throw 8 products at you, you're going to look at me and your head's going to spin. So starting simple, I think, is really important. Let's build gradually, kind of building on what we do. I will say I was definitely the person that would skip washing my face a lot of times to go to bed because I didn't feel like doing it or it just seemed overwhelming. So I would wash and put moisturizer on. What I have found over the years is the more I do it and the more results that I see, the more I want to do more. So starting simple, building on it, seeing those results and really being able to start throwing in, more, you're going to want to do it because you're actually going to be seeing those results.